Golf is known as a gentleman's game, but there is one woman in particular who has taken the sport by storm, changing the narrative and challenging the status quo. You may know Paige Spiranac as a social media influencer and golfer. You may know her as Maxim's sexiest woman of 2022 and arguably the sexiest golfer alive. But what you may not know is that her professional journey tells a story of cyberbullying, relentless criticism, anxiety, and depression. However, in the face of this adversity, Paige refused to be silenced. She courageously pushed through the hate, using her platform to evolve the game of golf, empowering herself, advocating for women in professional sports, all while building an online following larger than any other pro golfer out there, including the GOAT, Tiger Woods. This is the story of Paige Spiranac. In 1993, amidst the picturesque landscapes of Wheat Ridge, Colorado, Paige Spiranac was born into a family with a rich lineage of athleticism. Her father, a member of the Pittsburgh Panthers football team, and her mother, a professional ballerina, provided her with a genetic legacy destined for greatness. From an early age, Dan and Annette Spiranac were aware that their youngest daughter was deeply affected by anxiety. She was always behind me, peering out from around my legs, her mother Annette says. She never spoke. Instead, young Paige would spend extended periods alone on the playground, engrossed in swinging and maneuvering on the monkey bars. Hoping to find a suitable outlet, Dan and Annette decided to enroll Paige in gymnastics at the age of 6. This choice turned out to be fortuitous as Spiranac displayed remarkable talent, eventually committing to rigorous training of 8 hours a day, 6 days a week. Both of her parents, having been accomplished athletes themselves, opted to homeschool Paige to facilitate her full-time training. The family relocated from Denver to Colorado Springs in order to be closer to the training facility. Gymnastics was my full identity, Paige says. Everyone knew me as Paige the gymnast who was going to the Olympics. However, even within the gymnastics environment, Paige struggled to fit in socially. She admits that she was a weird child. I wore glasses and rubber rain boots everywhere. I had this condition where my hair would fall out. I had bad asthma. When you're bald and need an inhaler, it's not easy. Kids would stand 10 feet away from me. Spiranac went on to say that kids would also keep their distance, and some would even go as far as throwing rocks at her. Paige remembers being in the middle of a gymnastics routine, and when she'd look over at her teammates, she would see them secretly spitting into her drink. The bullying got so bad that when she would bring in birthday cake, the other girls tossed it in the garbage in front of her. Despite these social challenges, Paige persevered, amassing victories and capturing the attention of esteemed coaches. However, her journey hit a significant setback when she suffered a fractured kneecap. This injury alone bulldozed her dreams of Olympic participation for good, and Paige was shattered. All I wanted was to be a professional athlete, Paige says, to find something that I could be good at. Clearly in a fragile state, her mother Annette reached out to a sports psychologist for some much-needed guidance. The psychologist advised Annette that aligning the child's personality with the chosen sport was pivotal for athletic success. It was at this point in time in Paige's young life where she found golf. At the age of 13, she fell head over heels for the sport from the very first swing. Now you have to keep in mind, by the time Paige was 13, most kids had already been golfing for several years, honing their craft and winning trophies. To catch up, Annette and Paige relocated to Arizona so that Paige could train all year round, dedicating herself to rigorous practice every day. This commitment to the sport meant sacrificing typical teenage experiences like proms and football games, but this was a trade-off Paige accepted willingly. Paige's dedication paid off as she emerged as a highly sought-after recruit in college golf. While securing a golf scholarship at the University of Arizona was a significant achievement, Paige found herself unprepared for this transition. Up until that point, she had been in somewhat of a protected bubble compared to other college athletes. Paige never had a drink, she never had a boyfriend. Her entire life up to this point was all about golf. By the time I got to college, I was kind of burned out, and it showed. Paige finished 5th at the Cal Classic and 19th at the NCAA Central Regional Championships. I think I had a better junior golf career than I did a college career. I didn't live up to the expectations I had or my coaches had. I'm athletically gifted and physically gifted, and everyone can see I was talented, but mentally I didn't have enough time to develop and was always being pushed to the next level. Trying to find her game, Paige made the move to San Diego State following her sophomore fall term. She took on the role of team captain and achieved success in various tournaments, culminating in the Aztecs' victory in the Mountain West Conference Championship, an achievement that marked a historic milestone. However, throughout this newfound success, Paige's mental well-being was on a downward trajectory. The lingering social anxiety she grappled with from childhood remained in her life. In an attempt to address this, a doctor prescribed antidepressants, but unfortunately, Paige had adverse reactions to them. By the time her senior year arrived, her anxiety escalated to the point where even mundane tasks like grocery shopping or dining out became a challenge. Paige then began to spiral and developed an eating disorder and would often isolate herself, finding solace in graham crackers hidden in her room. During her golf practice sessions, her coach offered advice, cautioning Paige about being overly critical of herself and providing exercises aimed at freeing her mind from undue pressure. Despite her mental health being at an all-time low, one man was about to change everything for Paige, and she, unfortunately, had no control over it. In July of 2015, Dan Register, a blogger from the Total Frat Move community, spotlighted Paige's physical attractiveness on social media and completely changed the trajectory of her career. The blog post dubbed her a smoke show golfer, and while the commentary leaned into objectification, making inappropriate remarks obsessing over Paige's looks, this rapidly grew her Instagram following from 500 to 100,000 followers within hours. This unexpected surge of attention triggered intense anxiety and had a traumatic effect on Paige and her family. Now, of course, some good came from this as she gained sponsors, endorsements, and more followers on social media than anyone could have ever imagined. However, she often found herself in tears on the floor, leaving her parents feeling helpless as they worried about the impact on her mental health and self-esteem. The 22-year-old aspiring pro golfer who had dreams of a long career ahead ended up facing backlash from the golf community for seemingly diverting attention from the established LPGA players who deserved the recognition over Paige. While playing in Dubai, Paige received direct messages from players calling her a bad role model, scolding her for ruining the game. From the start, it was a massive controversy. There were pros, legends of the game, discussing if I belonged. People were taking bets about whether I would come in last. I'm this kid who has no experience, no media training. I completely bombed publicly, cried about it. It was a shit show. Paige shot a 77-79 to finish 101 out of 107 players. Having said that, she also brought in record-breaking coverage. 500 million impressions on social media and the largest broadcast viewership ever for a ladies' European tour event. Her body had become both an object of desire on the internet and a source of shame, exposing the complex expectations imposed on her. After her near last place finish in Dubai, Paige had this to say about the whole experience. "I learned that I want to continue pursuing a career in golf. I am fully aware that my presence in the field wasn't based on just my playing ability. I'm a good golfer, good enough to play at San Diego State, and good enough that my goal is to still make it on the LPGA Tour. But I'm not there yet. So when the tournament organizers called me in July saying they were following me on Instagram and that I was someone who could bring attention to the game through their tournament in Dubai, I knew this was an opportunity that I couldn't turn down. But I also knew my game wasn't quite ready because I had just turned pro and hadn't even played in a professional tournament yet. In college, my time was split between schoolwork and golf, but now I am completely dedicated to work as hard as I can to make it on tour." Paige continued to put in work and was determined to play on the LPGA Tour. She debuted in the Developmental Cactus Tour in Arizona in May of 2016. Then, in her third start, she earned herself a sudden death win at Scottsdale's Orange Tree County Club over Hannah O'Sullivan, the then top-ranked amateur in the world, earning Paige her only tour win. She next finished 9th at the Stallion Mountain, earning $800 for the finish, and followed that up with a few more solid performances. In August of 2016, Paige competed in her first LPGA qualifying tournament, but did not play well enough to earn a card to play on the professional circuit. This was a tough pill for Paige to swallow, and the disappointment she had in herself really took a toll. Paige went to therapy to address her feelings of inadequacy and disappointment, seeking relief from her anxiety. A pivotal moment came during a session when her therapist made her realize that her anxiety could actually become her strength. Embracing this newfound outlook, Paige chose to challenge the norm and refused to let critics define her love for golf. She decided to lean into her growing online presence and transition out of life as a professional golfer and into golf media. She started dedicating a considerable portion of her time to modeling, posting pictures and videos online, including golf-related ones like trick shots and instructional videos. This again garnered both admiration and criticism from the traditional golf community. Paige made a bold decision to cast aside concerns about maintaining a respectable image. The fact that she couldn't pursue a professional career in golf did not deter her from staying committed to the sport that she cherished. She also needed to find a new means of generating income. She refers to her post featuring a Masters towel from March of 2021 as a pivotal moment when she embraced her true self without apology. Wearing an open Kelly green jacket without a bra, she shared a comment that said, "No one will ever take you seriously if you keep posting pictures with cleavage," followed by her own, "I made some towels with this image to buy or for the haters to dry their tears." Remarkably, this single post brought in over $100,000. It has 338,000 likes and 11,000 comments. Prior to this post, she hadn't capitalized on her image in this way. But this was the turning point, and Paige decided to fully embrace her attractiveness, securing more sponsors and partnerships along the way. However, the key difference at this time for Paige was that she cared significantly less about everyone else's opinion. Over the past 8 years, Paige has transformed into a self-made multi-million-dollar brand, surpassing her potential earnings as a professional golfer. She acknowledges her unique platform and influence, driven by her personality and intellect rather than solely her physical appearance. Paige envisions a future where she continues to expand her online community, challenges golf's unwritten rules, and fosters a more inclusive environment for the sport. She's become the most prominent woman in golf, partnering with numerous golf-related companies and starting her own platform, onlypaige.com. When I started posting, I showed my failure and things people weren't discussing: mental health, failure on the golf course. The community I've built, they know me. Even the people who hate me, in the beginning it rattled me, but now I have fun with it. I think my skin is thicker, I know how to handle it. Continuing with her immense success, Paige aims to advocate for those who feel like outsiders in the golf community, making the sport accessible to a wider range of people. Her own body continues to be a subject of discussion online, with Paige navigating the pressure to maintain a healthy relationship with her appearance in a profession where physical presentation is certainly scrutinized. As she looks ahead despite the challenges, Paige remains steadfast in her journey to redefine expectations and make a lasting impact on the game of golf. Thanks for watching our video. If you haven't yet, drop us a like, leave us a comment, and if you're looking for more golf content, don't forget to subscribe.